My name is Jazz. I like to go by Jazzy or Jazzo. Um, or you can call me Iman, just as long as you don't call me out of my name.
Very
Okay,
good.
right?
And on my left is Winston.
Yes. I'm a producer here, have been for maybe even a couple of decades. So the name is Winston Munford, and we are at Manhattan Neighborhood Network uh, Studios. Uh, we have been doing shows here a very long time, and just about anything and everything that could happen on a TV show has happened to me or us at one time or another. So we've been around the block a few times, and we've had some good shows. We just did a very, very good show, and the same people, some of the same people are still here, and I think we're going to have another great show. So uh,
You
let
know,
us get started.
yes, uh, we have an eclipse today. And I wanted to talk about art, but I'm going to talk about the eclipse. I'd like to know, how do you feel that we're indoors and all the action is outdoors? But how do you feel about that?
Well, for me, it's really easy because I've seen eclipses before, and it is something that you've seen and you'll never get over it. Okay, that's just the way it is. This is something you may never have seen, you may never see again, and it's spectacular. And I would like to be outside looking at it, but I don't have my friend used to call cheaters, that, so that I could look directly at the eclipse. I'm just going to watch it at home on television and let that be it for me on this one.
What about you, Jazz?
Um, it was a humbling experience to realize that you can actually see the eclipse during the daylight, um, suggesting that I've been inside for very long. I just appreciate being here with people helping people and appreciate the opportunity to look at the eclipse with glasses.
I don't know. At my age, I think I've seen one before, but they say I haven't. And we won't see another one for the next 400 years. So, in a way, I'm sorry that I'm inside, but I'm glad to be here with everybody that's here because we have something very interesting going on. We're going to talk about everything, but we'll start with art. Art is something that I never thought about until I retired. We see it everywhere we go, everything we do, but we don't know the talent we have inside of us until we begin to express it. And in my case, once I retired at 60, I began to find that I had so much art in me that it was just bursting out all over. Have you ever had that feeling, Winston?
Yes.
In what respect?
Well, for me, I started out as an artist, as a
Oh,
child. Uh, I remember my teacher had me do some kind of drawing on a blackboard. And I didn't know it was overly complex. I was just
doing your thing.
doing my thing. And she called my mother up to the school to see what I had drawn on the board. And she told my mother, she said, any little piece of this would be enough for one painting or one drawing. Instead of doing that, he's got all of these here at one time. We could go in and take each one out and make a big one, or we can take this thing as its entirety, all of these things together. And that's what we did. They suggested that I apply for the High School of Music and Art, which I
Mm-hmm.
did. And I passed the test, and that was the first major thing that I did in terms of art. So that started in grade school. So
And what about you, Jazz? Well, I know you do poetry, and that is a form of art.
Yeah, it
That's the
is.
spoken word,
Often,
which is very deep.
yeah. Sometimes you put music to those poems and you have a song.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, today I wrote a poem about art. I don't even know what inspired me to write the poem, but when you said today's topic was about art, it hit me like I had a revelation because I feel like art is busting out my seams and I'm trying to find I'm trying to see which form of art helps me, channel different, feelings and emotions that compulses me to behave the way I behave, compulses me to communicate the way I communicate and view art as a whole. So,
I might be able to give you some guidance since I've been doing this most of my life. Try a little bit of everything just to get your feet wet. Find out if you like it or not. Do I want to go this way or do I want to go that way? And do enough of it so that you actually get the feel of what it, and decide whether this is what you want to do, sort of like for the rest of your life. Once you find that, then I could say give up everything else and go whole hog. You know, that's what I did. In school, I was learning calligraphy. Now, for those who don't know, calligraphy is an art form where you write letters,
yeah.
alphabet. You use the alphabet, and you can make an A 100 different ways. You can make any letter of the alphabet 100 different ways, and you get to do that, but you have to love it. You have to love it. And so we were in school one day, again in school, and my classmates were complaining that my calligraphy was too good, and they were jealous. You know what my teacher did? My teacher said, Winston, bring up your geography homework. Held it up, it's all done in calligraphy. Hold up, show us your social, social studies, whatever. Every homework I did was in calligraphy. Now, basically, y'all are complaining that you're not good enough and you're not doing the work.
Yeah,
Look at what this guy does all day to learn calligraphy. And now you're complaining that he's too good? You need to get with the program.
Channel.
And I'm suggesting something similar to you. I can only suggest it. Find out what turns you on and can't be turned off. Once you do that, you'll be committed. You won't be able to stop. And guess what comes after that? Excellence. Make sense?
Yep,
Okay.
that's a deal.
That's true. You know, in my case, I never, I never box myself to any particular medium because in life we do art all the time. When we cook, when we sew, when we do our hair, it's art. It's always a form of art. But when you sit down and it does something to you inside, it's even more important than art. And it's not important enough that you won't do it unless somebody likes it. You do it because you like it. And you don't let anybody color your interest in it or take away the art that you have inside of you. I brought a few pieces here today, ceramic pieces, just to show you different forms of art that I do. These are just 3 pieces here that are ceramic. And it sort of like tells a story that only I would know. But if you look at it, you can put the story in it yourself.
Mm.
And that's what I think art is. Even when you make a dress or a hat or a hairstyle, it should be part of you and the viewer should look at it and becomes part of the viewer. And I brought some pieces here to show you. This is a acrylic work that I did just in spare time.
Do me a favor, explain what acrylic paints are.
Acrylic paints are paints that are, let me say, I'll say, as opposed to oil. Acrylic paints are very forgiving. Oil, not so much. Oil takes much longer to dry, and you have to have certain chemicals when you use it.
Right.
This is a healthier mode of painting.
Inexpensive, or is it
It's
economical?
less expensive than oil.
Okay.
And a lot of people say you can only put it on canvas. But I was in South Africa, and I brought back some ostrich eggs. And I painted on them with acrylic. And it still held up, and it still looks beautiful. The only difference with acrylic, as a preservative, you should put a gloss over it, which gives it a sheen.
Wow, that's a beautiful picture.
And
It
this
is.
one, this is from a snapshot that I did. This is acrylic too.
Wow, that's
And
nice.
I mostly use acrylic. This is another one. These are just scenes that come out of my head, pictures I've seen, etc. And here's another one. And you know, when you want to paint or when you want to do art, you could do it on anything. You could do magic markers, crayons, anything you want, watercolor. If you have a feeling
Pencil.
that you have a feeling that you, even sand. Remember the sand art?
Yeah, the Indians, I think, American Indians had
I
that.
do it
form,
too. I mean, you just use whatever you want to use, but it has to be, and even with your poetry, it has to be something that you feel that you want to get off your chest, out of you, to say to someone, to make them feel or understand why you did it, how you did it, and enjoy it as much as you do. And this is a piece of cardboard. This is a menu that I was just sitting around and just
It's nice.
did it, you know? So that to me is something that I want to encourage people to do. Make no difference what it is.
And is this acrylic paint too?
This is acrylic paint, and this is a medium gloss that gives it that shine.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And you know, I was on in the village, and there was a man there had a newspaper sitting down with a black magic marker, and he was just painting on that newspaper, ripped the page off and sold it. And he was selling just
There
his
you go.
so I mean, you can do it to make money.
And this was in Greenwich Village?
Yeah, in Greenwich. You could do it to
Wow.
make money, or you could just do it for fun. I have sold my paintings. I've had an art show many times, and it's something that I think, with so much turmoil
Right, exactly.
that's going on,
mental
that
health
people
crisis,
have
too.
so many emotions inside of them, it could be a release.
I would like to stick my nose in here when you said emotions.
Mental health crisis, the pandemic, how it's affected, people that are usually inside most of the time. So I feel like touching on that would be very important, Mr. Winston.
I worked in Greenwich Village as a portrait artist.
Yes.
It wasn't fun. First of all, you had to learn that the police didn't like that. Why, I don't know. But
No
Every
revenue for them. For the
maybe,
city.
maybe every time I was set up to do portraits, here come the goddamn cops.
Mm-hmm.
Threats. What they like to do is to hit the curb with their nightstick, so you could hear that, and everybody on the block could hear that, and so you better get up and move. Now,
Exactly.
here's the thing. I wound up working for this guy named Ike. Ike, big fat white guy, okay, and he had a shop, and he would hire us
Yes.
off the sidewalk to come
Oh,
and work
wow.
in his shop. Okay, now Ike was fun. He was a big sloppy guy, and he had a big sloppy car, but he treated people right. And the nice thing about it, Ike would park illegally, and everybody would watch out for his car. When they saw the cops coming, they would say, Ike, the cops, and he'd go move his car. And then when the cops were gone, he'd bring his car back. So all the artists in that area were making money off of Ike, and there was nothing wrong with that because he was legal. We, the street people, we weren't legal.
Yeah. The thing about art, you ever heard the phrase the starving artist?
Yeah, I've been one.
Oh, you have?
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's why I say, anything you do, if you make a dress, if you do a hair, if it's for money, it becomes drudgery. It's no fun because you've got to sell those things. But if you like it, you do it anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ironic because as you were explaining how doing art, you can begin struggling before you kind of find your niche.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is there any satisfaction? Is there any satisfaction in the art that you are doing, beginning to do, learning about? I had to ask myself that question, and I came to the summarization that as long as I'm learning something, and as long as I'm getting something out of it on my satisfaction list,
That's very
because with
important.
the mental health and the pandemic, permits, attaining permits to showcase your art, or applying to schools or applying to programs are at their maximum
It
threshold.
makes it very difficult. That's why I express to everyone, it's got to be something that does not pay your rent, does not feed your face, but something that gives you an itch that you have to get it out of your body, to show it, to challenge yourself, for you to enjoy it.
Yeah, you have to find
Otherwise,
it.
otherwise it becomes a hindrance.
Right, exactly. You are writing poetry. Now, I don't know if what I'm going to say is going to be applicable to the way you write poetry, but here's the thing, and I don't remember all of it, but they have in poetry what is called a meter. And what is the meter? The meter is the beat. See, now they have different kinds. Iambic tetrameter or something like that has those kind of names. And
A
there's
tetral.
I can't say for sure because this
But
was
what it means,
so long
it
ago.
means like the beat of it, like your heart
The
has a
rhythm.
beat.
Yeah,
The rhythm.
the
It's-
words have a rhythm, and
Yeah.
when you are aware of that, and you would have to you look it up on your phone, and iambic tetrameter. I don't know. That's the word that stuck in my head.
I know.
But you see,
Okay.
Winston,
Let's
all
try to
that's
Google this.
nice, but I don't think a person. I think everybody has some form of art in them. I don't think a person could boggle herself down into that.
That's not exact. That is not at all what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that
Guidance.
the written word has music in it.
A rhythmic tempo. A
That's
tempo.
right, and they are different. So you can set your tempo, so to speak, to the written word. Now you're halfway to a song.
Right.
That's all I'm trying
And
to say.
it touched me because it's sort of like guidance. It's sort of feeding to me in the present. Like, the present is a gift. So with the tempo, with the satisfaction
And the emotion that you have when you write.
and the guidance.
Yeah.
It has to be there. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of words.
But there's also, ignition. There's a scratch, an itch for something beyond. I mean, first it may begin as wanting to feed yourself, wanting to be sustained, wanting to be replenished. So once I attack it, and attack it, and attack it, and attack it, I'm
In other words, you stay with it.
Yeah,
You don't give up.
in the form of my art, the art that I emulated, and I can always go back. Everything is up for revision, right?
Yeah.
So I can always go back, but to elaborate and to take something and make it your own is a feeling of satisfaction that supersedes materialistic acceptance, materialistic,
Very much.
yeah,
Very much.
that's
I
attainability.
just want to make sure you
That's-
knew this one little, what I think is an important thing. I used to be a songwriter.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm just talking through my hat.
What kind of songs you used to write?
Songs that weren't very good.
They
Okay?
didn't make a lot of money.
No, they didn't
That
make
didn't-
any
didn't
money.
give you a
but
Grammy.
the point was that I had friends. This friend I was talking about earlier, who was a piano tuner for the Apollo
Yeah.
Theater. She and I, and we had a vocalist by the name of Gia Williams, who was a jazz singer. And the three of us used to get together and write songs. Okay, but their attitude was different from mine. Okay, and they were like gonna write this song to death. We're working on this song, and we've been working on it for a month. That's not enough. We're gonna work on it.
For a year.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, when I was working in the recording studio, the one that we had the picture up earlier, this one,
Okay.
this is a professional organization.
Yeah.
And what we did, we set a time limit. If the song wasn't finished in 3 days, go on to something else.
But Winston, that's good. But
That's
It's
ignition.
profession.
That's
no,
ignition for
that's
me.
Good.
That's
That's
profession.
Staying in the present, but the most important thing is to stay in the present. The ignition, it ignited in the present, but the present was the present before you got there. You already had guidance for that. So how we're trying to obtain guidance in a different area of our lives, and it continue to, stay
5 minutes.
incomplacent. Don't become
But we
Try
had rent
to stay-
we had rent to pay.
focused.
But that's what I'm trying to say. That's good, both of you. Those are good ideas. But you put it on the back burner, and you go ahead and you do it. You buy your bread and your butter and what have you. Gonna pay your rent. But it's still there. That itch is still there. That song is still there. That dress is still got to be finished. And that's the challenge that you must have within yourself. I've got to do everything that's important. That's not my priority now. But I still got to go and scratch this itch that says, finish this poem, finish this song, finish that painting. Because it's still there. That's your challenge to keep you going.
Undeniably.
Yeah.
Just don't do it in the studio.
you can't do it.
That's
in
all
the
I'm
studio.
saying.
Well, that's
in
what
the
you're supposed to
studio,
do
you
it,
got
right?
rent to pay.
No, that's the whole thing.
What kind
Everybody
of
can't afford
studio?
it.
What kind of studio are we talking about? Because
This kind of studio.
here I
That's
am being
true.
spiritual again.
That's true. But
This,
here's the
this is
point.
what I was looking for. Funky Slice. This is a way that somebody could scratch their itch and find different spheres to scratch it. When you look at this picture, what do you see? I see a studio.
We had rules too.
I see
That's-
machines,
yeah.
but without the itch, without the exposure, how would you know? Without knowing that you have an outreach, you can find somewhere to go, and
No, I'm not
That's what
understanding.
I-
Say that differently because I'm not picking up.
without knowing that you can express yourself in a safe environment. Nowadays, taking into consideration the present, you can find yourself in a safe environment. And
This was not a safe environment.
No, I mean
But
today.
here's the thing,
Just
Jazz,
this is
and
not a safe
Winston.
environment.
No, it was not.
It was not, or is
We
it
got
today?
robbed at gunpoint.
Is it today though?
I'm just telling you.
But here's
But
what
this
I'm
is what
saying.
I'm saying.
Studio that I knew, everybody,
They
they were
all-
all robbed.
Yeah.
But this
You
is what I'm trying to say. What we're shooting for, the how would you say it? The aim, the objective. The objective would be to, when I look at this, would be to, for me, because you know what I'm saying. I really haven't had the chance to express myself entirely in different spheres. I'm being exposed, but it would be a very, contributing factor to be able to express yourself, your talent, your creativity in a safe environment. taking into consideration the current state of the economy, taking into consideration the current
Very
state of the
important,
environment,
very
taking
important.
into consideration our personal responsibilities and and our attitudes and our behaviors. So when I look at this is a piece of art to me in itself because somebody has this niche.
But
Yes,
why
but
do
it's
you
gonna
connect it to a safe environment even after I tell you there is no safe environment?
Because I'm
But
on
there-
people helping people, and this is a safe environment for
You're
me.
not going to find it.
Yeah,
Even if you're sitting in a police station, the cop is going to hit you over the head.
but I think what Jazz is saying, and what I want to say, let's put it like that. In this city, there are safe environments. We don't know how, we don't network enough to know where to go to them. Most boroughs have some type of community center where some of these things are available. But how many people take advantage of it? Because we don't know. We don't
Very
network. We
important.
don't tell each other.
Maybe I'm just
things.
jaded.
Well, you are jaded because
Yeah,
you look how many.
I've
You
had
have
too
to
many.
Be jaded
I've
for
had
so
too many
times.
experiences. I've had too
Wouldn't
many.
wouldn't that jade you? But I'm telling you, there are places. Don't ask me where, but I know. I know the Point in the Bronx. They do a lot of the spoken word. The Longwood Museum on the concourse. They have the spoken word. So the Point.
They got the
One-
blue door
one
too,
minute.
the blue door in Yonkers. They got the blue door in Yonkers. I did
Yeah,
some
we just
stuff
have
there.
we have to network and let people know what's available.
They have the blue door in Yonkers, and it was
And,
a great
Try to
environment.
get to it, but don't stifle your artistic talent.
Hell no. I know there's nothing safe, but do you think that stops me?
Yeah, well,
Well, some people might be afraid of getting their feet wet because
Get
they never got
over
their
it.
feet wet before.
Get over it.
Okay.
but that's why I say, Jazz, you really have to challenge yourself. Get your feet wet, but challenge yourself to do what you have to do and enjoy what you do.
Your son didn't stop just because his job was dangerous.
No, he did.
There you go. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's true. You have to. It's that itch that you have to scratch. If you don't scratch that itch, it's going to stay there
And service.
and stay there and stay there. Scratch that itch.
Service is
Yeah.
up.
Get out there.
Service
You gotta
is
have
up for
something
revision as
worth-
well.
Yeah.
Have something worth doing.
I
That's
feel
right.
like that
And
service
that
is up
helps a
for
lot.
revision as well. Because if the service and the exposure isn't there, then how are people gonna know? Like I know, but then when I get in there, how am I gonna
You know, Jess,
creatively express myself when I get into communication with other people that I need in order to express my creativity? That's very important for me. And that's a
And for me,
key
too.
factor. It's a
But
key
we're gonna-
factor in mental health.
We're going to keep that in mind, and we're going to go out and network. And thank you very much for expressing yourself and allowing me to show my artwork. And thanks again to Stanley Lowe, people helping people. And my name is Barbara Ison White, and her name is say it.
Jazzy, Jazzo, or Iman, whatever you
And
want to
his
call me.
name-
Winston Munford.
And once again, thank you very much.
People helping people with Stanley Lowe.